I worked as a security guard at a built-up construction site. Then I turned on the camera at night. We weren't alone. My name is Mark. I'm 28. I live in Dresden, Germany. I worked as a technician for a security installation company for 3 years. Then I was laid off under the pretext of redundancy. The money ran out, but the rent didn't. So when I saw an ad for a job as a security guard at the construction site, Novi Ryden, I immediately agreed. It was a company that was involved in the development of old industrial zones. The project in a village near the Czech border was a former ceramics factory from the 1930s. The plan was to turn it into a residential complex. But the work stopped back in 2020 due to legal disputes. Now, there was no one there except me, a night security guard. The salary was 1,800 euros per month. In cash, I signed a contract, received keys, a walkie-talkie, a jacket with a logo, and an old laptop for reports. The site was huge, over 20,000 square meters. The building was gigantic, with cracked windows, steel beams protruding like the ribs of a skeleton. Inside are concrete basements, a buffet, a former workshop. On the first floor is a temporary security post, a 3-by-3-meter room, a heater, a bed, a table, and a socket. The first 2 nights, nothing. Silence. Sometimes the wind played in the broken windows, as if someone was moaning. I read books, watched movies on my laptop, slept. On the 3rd night, I decided to set up a camera. Mine, black, with infrared light, recorded on a micro SD. I attached it to the ceiling of the room, opposite the door, and another one in the corridor leading to the basement. Just for myself, I said, maybe I'll film something interesting. A badger. Or vandals. After that, I set up another entrance on the street nearby, and another one in the basement because that was the strangest place. A huge room with ceramic stoves, broken jugs, old wooden boxes. And it was always cold there, even in July. The night went by as usual. I slept. I woke up at 4:17. Something was wrong. Silence. But too quiet. Even the wind had died down. I turned off my laptop, plugged in my memory card. I was watching the footage from the camera in the hallway. At 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 17 seconds, movement. I zoomed in. A figure is walking down the hallway. A person. She was wearing white overalls, old-fashioned, like a doctor's or a lab technician's. The sleeves are long. The hood is pulled up. Her face is dark, as if absorbed by a shadow. She moved very smoothly, as if not clinging to the floor. No traces. I looked at everything. She walked past the camera, stopped at the door to the basement, stood, then disappeared downstairs. I turned off my laptop. My heart was pounding. Could it be one of the workers? But the project was frozen. No one had access. The next day, I called the manager. He said that no one was supposed to be there, but said to check. Asked not to panic. Maybe it's local guys, he said. They go up there to drink beer. But there was no beer on the recording. Only this figure. And something else. It didn't cast a shadow. Also under infrared light. I decided to put another camera in the basement, right in front of the furnaces. And another on the outside wall to see who was coming in. And I also decided to go down to the basement myself. That evening I took a flashlight, a walkie-talkie, and a knife. I went down the stairs. The air was thick like damp cotton wool. The temperature was at least 10 degrees Celsius, although it was 22 outside. I went to the furnace. Nothing. But near one of them, there was a footprint. Not dirty, but as if pressed into the dust, like from a naked adult foot. I walked away, and then I heard a sound. Not footsteps, but as if someone was breathing. Slowly, deeply, from below, as if from under the floor. I turned off the radio. It's Mark. I've got a disturbance at the site. I need help. There was no answer. Just noise. When I came back upstairs, the door to my room was open. I was closing it. Inside, nothing had disappeared, but there was a piece of paper on the table. On it was a single line, written in old-fashioned handwriting. You shouldn't have come back. I stayed up that night. I stared at the door. I waited, and that's what I realized. Someone knew I had come back. But I never said I was going to come back here. I didn't go to work the next night. I called my boss, said I was sick. He didn't ask for details. He just said, don't stay long. I went to Dresden, to the city archives. I needed to know what had happened to that factory, what was known about its past. The archivist, An elderly woman with glasses on a string helped me find the materials. The Ryden Ceramic Factory operated from 1927 to 1991. It produced tiles, jugs, and dishes for the local elite. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, the company went bankrupt. But before that, in 1988, tragedy struck. In February 1988, there was an incident at the factory. During the night shift, an explosion occurred in the underground furnaces. The cause was a malfunction in the gas system. 3 workers died. 2 more missing. I looked at the photo. One of the missing is a man named Eric Mahler, 32 years old. He worked as a laboratory technician, responsible for the quality of materials. The photo is black and white. He is wearing a white jumpsuit with a hood, or rather, not a hood, but a hat, like in chemical laboratories. I feel a chill creeping down my spine. It was him, the same man from the cell. But in the photo, he is alive. And in the archive, the caption, "Body not found." I asked for more information, and then the woman found another document, an internal Stasi investigation. Secret, I read. After the explosion, anomalous phenomena were observed. Unusual fog in the basement, missing bodies, evidence of figures in white walking around after midnight. The investigation has been stopped. The case is closed. I went outside. My head was spinning. Is this possible? Ghost? Hallucination? Or something else? I returned to the site in the evening. I decided to turn on all the cameras at once and stay there. I put the laptop on the table, connected all the cards, turned on a live video from 4 cameras, and waited. At 1:47 a.m., movement. Camera outside. Nothing. But in the basement, he appeared. The same man. In white. He stood by the stoves, looking straight into the camera. Then he came closer and stopped. I zoomed in. His face was not quite human. His skin was gray like baked dough. His eyes were black without whites. His mouth was stretched out as if in a permanent grimace. He reached for the camera. The screen went blank. I ran to the basement door. It was closed from the inside. I didn't open it. But when I returned to my laptop, the video was on the screen again. He was standing in my room, by the bed, looking at me through the screen. I turned off my laptop. My heart was pounding. Then I heard a voice, not from the camera, but from under the floor, deep like from under the ground. "You see me. You see the truth." I stepped back. "Who are you?" I shouted. "We stayed. We wait. We can't leave." I ran away. I left everything. I jumped out, got in the car, and drove away. At the entrance to the city, the police stopped me. I was in a state of shock. They took me to the hospital. The doctors said, stress, maybe hallucinations. They advised me to rest a little. But I knew it was real. 2 weeks later, my manager called me. "Mark, you're no longer needed. We found another guard. What about the cameras?" I asked. "What cameras?" he said. "We never installed a security system." I wanted to argue, but he had already hung up. I decided to check what it was. As an investigator, I would film everything. I would find evidence. And this is what I found on my laptop when I opened it at home. The last recording from the basement camera. It wasn't 2:03. It was 4:17, the time I woke up that night. And in the video, it was me. I was asleep. And there he was, holding my hand. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw this scene. I was sleeping, and he was standing next to me, looking at me, holding my hand as if he wasn't studying me, as if he was waiting for me to wake up. I took a new camera, a thermal imager, a voice recorder, even a drone, and I recorded everything. This time I didn't stay in the room. I spent the night in the basement, in a tent, with all the equipment. I turned on the thermal imager. Nothing. But when I pointed it at the stoves, one of the holes showed an anomaly. It was as if it was warm there. But the stoves hadn't worked since 1988. I put the voice recorder on, and I asked, "If you can hear me, say something. Who are you?" Silence. An hour later, there was a sound, as if someone was breathing into the microphone. Then a voice. Not everyone died then. Some remained in between. I jumped back. What does this mean? Where are you? Under. We are under. In the furnace. In the walls. In the dust. Why aren't you leaving? They won't let us in. We don't know how. I decided to open one of the furnaces. It was covered with a steel lid. I found the tools. It gave way. Inside, nothing. Empty. But the walls were covered with something. Like stains. gray like dried clay. I touched it. It was warm and moving. I pulled my hand away. The stain shifted evenly like a living organism. I moved away, and then I heard a bell, like a church bell, but there was no church around. The bell rang out from under the ground. Then voices, many voices, like a choir. They sang in a language I didn't understand, but I felt the meaning: return, return, return. I ran away, but when I left the territory, my car stalled. I checked. There was fuel. The battery was fine, but the engine wouldn't start. I got out. There was silence all around. And then I saw a figure standing on the roof of the building, in white. She was looking at me. I got into the car. 5 minutes later, it started. I arrived home at 6 o'clock, tired, scared, but I decided I will make a documentary. I will film everything. I will show the world. I started editing the materials, video from a camera, audio, photos. I even found an old journal of one of the workers. He wrote about strange dreams, about how the furnaces breathe. And then I found another video. I didn't remember what I was filming. In it, I'm standing in the basement. But it's not me. My movements are different. My eyes are empty. I walk over to the stove, touch the wall, and I say, "It's ready. We can start." I deleted the video, but the next night it reappeared in my cloud storage, without my doing anything. And then I realized they're not just there in the basement. They're already partially here. I didn't leave the house for 3 days. I turned off my phone. I closed the curtains. Every sound outside the window seemed like footsteps. Every groan of the heating was a voice from the basement. I watched the video, listened to the audio, analyzed the footage. And the more I watched, the less I believed my own eyes. Especially the video where I stand by the stove and say, "It's ready. We can start." It was me, my appearance, my clothes, but the movements were not mine. Too smooth, too synchronous, as if I were a puppet and someone was controlling me. I compare my handwriting with the entry in the worker's diary. The lines matched. Even the angle of inclination. If I didn't know, I would say that I wrote it. I decided to find someone who knew the story, who was there in 1988. Through the archives, I found a name, Hans Weiler, a former engineer who worked at the factory. Now he lives in the small town of Laban, 40 kilometers from the site, on the Czech side of the border. Once it was German territory, then it became Czechoslovakia. Like the factory itself, it is on the border strip. I drove to him. The road was difficult. Fog, rain, old roads. Laban is a place that seems to be stuck in time. Wooden houses, a church with peeling plaster, no one on the streets. I found the Weiler house. An old man with a stick came out onto the porch as soon as I drove up. "You're not from a mission?" he asked in German. "From what mission?" "The Stasi, or the SB. They came after that." I sat down with him in the kitchen. He poured me tea. My hands were shaking. I told him about the camera, the figure in white, the video. He wasn't surprised. "You saw him," he said. "Eric. But he's not alone." "Who are they?" "Not people. Not ghosts. They're detainees." When the furnaces exploded, something opened up. Not a hole. More like a bend in reality. Like a door that didn't close. They're caught between worlds. Not alive. Not dead. And they can't leave until they find a replacement. Replacement? Someone who feels them. Who sees. Who hears. When you first turned on the camera, you validated them. You said, "I see you." And that gave them power. And now what? Now they choose you. I asked about the replacement. He shook his head. It doesn't have to be death. It's an exchange. Someone enters that trap between, and they come back. But not as people. As reflections. As echoes. And what? They use my body. No. They use your reality. Your way of seeing the world. They learn to be you to get out. I returned to Dresden. My head was empty. I didn't know whether to believe the old one. But when I opened my laptop, there was a new message on the screen. It just appeared on the start screen. "Thank you for coming. Now we know how." I deleted it. Rebooted. It came back. I decided to destroy all the evidence. I wiped the discs, threw away the cameras, burned the copies. I wanted to erase myself. Disappear. But at night I had a dream. I'm standing in the basement. There's fog all around. The furnaces are open, and a figure in white comes out of each one. They're looking at me. But it's not scary. It's familiar. One of them approaches. He takes off his hood. Underneath him is me. The same me, but older. 10 years older. His face is haggard, his eyes are empty. He touches my face and whispers, "It's not you. It's me. But you helped me get back." I woke up. On the laptop is a video playing itself. It was a street in Dresden. The camera moves as if someone is walking. Then it stops near my building. It goes up to the 3rd floor. It enters the apartment. The door was locked, but the video shows it opening. The camera enters. It goes into the bedroom. I'm lying in bed. I'm sleeping. And next to me is me, in a white jumpsuit, looking at me. Then he turns to the camera and says, "You're no longer needed. Thank you for the access." The video ends. I ran to the mirror in the hallway. And for a moment, my reflection didn't move with me. It looked at me and nodded slowly. For several days, I sat in front of my laptop, watching that video over and over again. My double in a white jumpsuit, entering my apartment, looks at me, says, "You are no longer needed." It was not a threat. It was a statement of fact. I decided to explore this site again, as a person who wants to understand whether there is still a line between me and them. I took only one camera with me, a miniature one that could be attached to clothes, and a voice recorder, and the old jacket that I wore on my first night on the job, as if it could take me back to a time when everything was still real. The night was moonless. The fog slowly crept across the ground as if it were alive. I walked to the basement. The door was open, as if it was waiting. I turned on the voice recorder. "This is Mark. I am back. If this is being recorded, if anyone ever hears this, know this. I am not crazy." I was awake. I saw something I shouldn't have seen. I stopped by the stove. "Can you hear me?" I asked. "If you want to get out, if you need a way out, I'm ready to hear." Silence. Then a bell, like the last time. But now it wasn't ringing from just one place. It was all around me, like bells ringing in every corner of the basement. And then they appear. Not one, not two. 6 figures in white. They stood around me in a circle. No movement, no sound. I could feel their gaze, even though I couldn't see their eyes. One of them took a step forward. The same one from the first video. I recognized him by his pose, by the tilt of his head. "You see us," came the voice. Not from his mouth, as if from inside my head. "This is a rare gift. We've been waiting for this for 35 years. Why me? You're not the first. But you're the first who did not disappear. You did not run away forever. You returned. It means that you belong partly between." What does that mean? You are our point of connection. We cannot leave completely. But through you, we can touch the world. Live it. See it. And what will you do with me? Nothing. We do not take. We ask. Let us exist through you. Not forever. Only when you sleep. Only when you open the door. I thought about that video. How I stand by the stove and say, "It is ready." It was not me. It was them. But I allowed it. And if I refuse, then we will stay. And you will hear us always. In every rustle, in every reflection, in every dream, you will never be alone, and you will never be yourself. I stand. I thought, I don't want to become them. But I couldn't live in fear anymore. I couldn't run away from myself. "Okay," I said, "but on my terms." "What terms?" "You don't go outside this place. You don't touch anyone else. And you bring me back every time. I have to be me. We can't promise, but we'll try. Then let's begin." I sat down on the floor. I closed the door, and I let it. I don't know how much time had passed. When I woke up, it was light. I was lying by the stoves. The camera was running. The recorder was running, too. I went back. After watching the recording, on the video, I was sitting, closing my eyes. Then nothing. An empty frame. No figures. No voices. Just silence. But when I listened to the audio, it was different. Voices. Many voices. They sing. Like a choir. Then my voice, but not in my tone. "Thank you. We're back. Now I live in Dresden. I work as a technician. I have a girlfriend. A life that seems normal. But there are things that have changed radically. When I look out the window at night, sometimes I see a shadow moving behind the curtain. But it's not mine. When I sleep, I don't dream. Or maybe I just don't remember. Sometimes when I write, my hand moves by itself, and I see a line appear on the sheet. "We thank you for the house." The scariest thing? I'm not afraid of it. I'm not even sure if it's me writing this. Lately, I've been thinking, maybe they didn't leave because of me. Maybe I left because of them. And now I am the one who looks from the inside.